Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan, and I'm tired. I'm tired. What was that? What was that game week? What was that game week? I mean, man, this whole season, it feels like, you know, a few years ago we would have, sometimes we would have one of those game weeks. At the moment, it seems like we have one of those game weeks every other week, pretty much. I mean, since when has FPL been so hard? It is so difficult to get points right now. It's so difficult to predict what's going to happen. I mean, Arsenal conceding 3 goals to Luton. How has that happened? Liverpool only win 2-0. There's no Darwin, there's no Simicast in that team. What happened there? Bournemouth keeping a clean sheet against Crystal Palace. Since when were they a good defence? Aston Villa beat Man City 1-0. What? Man United beat Chelsea. I thought Man United were in bad form. What is going on? Fulham beat Forest 5-0. Who predicted that? No one. Then today, as if these couldn't get any worse, today, Everton 3, Newcastle 0. What? Why? Why did that happen? West Ham 2-1 against Spurs. Spurs, one of the best attacks in the league, score 1 goal against a West Ham team who love to concede goals. I mean, and they didn't even have their goalkeeper, Areola. He's got a wrist injury. And MBEUMO scores his penalty, but guess what? He gets injured straight away after that. What is happening, man? What is happening? Absolutely crazy. I mean, 36 points. That's apparently not a bad week. I mean, I took a -4 as well, so technically it's 32, but that's like an average score. I mean, a lot of people did worse. Very few people did better. This is a good team. Forget the defenders, because defenders are just like, when was the last time anyone's got any clean sheet points? It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen, does it? 3 returns in this entire team. This is a team with Salah, Haaland, Son, Trippier, Isak, one of the best performing forwards per 90 in the Premier League. And he got 90, and he did nothing. I mean, what is going on? FPL Amateur in the chat says, and it was Romero. Yeah, Romero, who's been suspended for 3 game weeks. Everyone's, removed him from the team. He's the guy who scores the 1 goal. Some people had Pedro Porro. Oh, yeah, nice. Pedro Porro assist. But guess what? You also got a yellow card and 2 goals conceded. So no points there for you either. What a disaster. What is going on? What is going on, man? It's crazy. It's actually mad. It's actually mad. One of those weeks again, another one. Oh man, I'm tired. I'm tired, guys. I'm tired. It's one of those game weeks. I'm surprised anyone's here watching this stream. By the way, thank you guys for joining me today. But it's times like this you just want to just put down the phone, put down the FPL, and just leave it for 24 hours and say, all right, forget it. I'll come back to this. This is just not. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. What is going on, man? What is going on? I can't understand it. I can't understand that game week. And you know what? The worst thing is, it's not going to get any better, because the Newcastle players look knackered. Spurs players look knackered. Son, he limped off at the end, didn't he? Gordon was knackered. Trippier was knackered. Isak didn't exactly look full of energy by the end of that game as well. What is going on, man? What is going on? It's so hard. And what do you do next? I mean, we've got to make some moves, right? We've got to replace MBEUMO, because he's going to be out for several weeks. We already know. MBEUMO's going to be out for several weeks. Now we've got to replace him. We've got to start thinking about replacements. Where do we go? Well, for most of you guys, I hope it's a pretty easy Palmer switch, to be honest. We're going to go through the options. Bowen is definitely on the radar after today once again as well, isn't he? Man, honestly, it's yeah. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to be too down. I'm very fortunate. Most of the time, I really, really, really do enjoy my job, and I'm very, very fortunate to be able to be in this position. But I mean, it's times like this. I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. I just want to go. I just want to forget about this game, to be honest. But we need to talk about FPL. And the worst thing is, I know it's another all-nighter for me tonight because we've got to get 100 Experts video out for tomorrow morning. But we move. Right. Oh, FML. Right. Let's we're not going to stream for like forever tonight because I have got lots to do in terms of more content for Gameweek16 because there's so little time before the next deadline. I think it's going to be another tragic game week. I think it's going to be more rotation. I think it's going to be more tired legs and shocked results. I think it's going to be another crazy one, to be honest. And hopefully things will get back to normal as soon, but yeah, it might not happen immediately. But we do need to talk about MBEUMO replacement, so let's do that today. We've got to do it. FPL Ahim says FPL is a love-hate relationship, man. You're so right. At the moment though, last month or so, it feels like it's been more hate than love. And another one more rant before one more bit of the rant before the rant is over. Another problem is we all have the same team, and it's not like, you know, there's loads of options this year. It feels like there's limited options. I mean, the only place where people's teams are really different because so many midfield options have basically been killed off, and MBEUMO's injury, Mitoma is just, you know, not doing so well, and he's having some rotation problems there as well. We've got injuries all over the place. There's like fewer and fewer options to go for at the moment, meaning the template is becoming stronger and stronger. There are only two places you can really change your team. It's that second striker slot. This week, none of them scored any points anyway. Darwin, 3 points. Because of him coming off the bench and getting the assist with a yellow card, by the way. Watkins, 1-pointer. Isak, 2-pointer. And then, like, you can... some people's defences are a little bit different to one another. So I'm sure you guys have slightly different defences to me. But, I mean, all of them are scoring no points anyway. All three of my defenders scored 1 point each. If you had another Arsenal defender in there, that's another 1-pointer. I don't know. If you had a Cash in there, 0-pointer. What's going on? Mental. But anyway, let's try and move on. Right. So midfielders. We need to replace MBEUMO. Let's have a look and see which midfielders are looking good at the moment. I was looking at this earlier, actually. And by the way, guys, we're on Fantasy Football Hub's the Opta Stats tool. If you want to check out the Fantasy Football Hub tools, of course, you can using the link in the description. You get a free trial for yourself if you fancy it. But let's talk about midfielders. I'm going to have a look and see kind of last 5 game weeks. So not all of the numbers will be updated because some of the games have just finished. But we'll go last 6 game weeks, see who's been performing well. We are going to order this by expected points over this period. And we're going to go per start as well because a lot of players have had a little bit of rotation there. Salah obviously right at the tippy top there. Trossard rotation risk, we can't talk about him. And Burmo's injured. Sarabi has only played once. Palmer is obviously going to be there. Tavernier. Is that how you say his name, by the way? I never know how to say it. I always want to say Tavernier. Tavernier sounds a bit more fancy, but Tavernier, actually pretty decent numbers. Willian, not bad. Foden, not bad. Bowen, obviously, doing pretty well. Yeah, we haven't even got to some of the other picks right now. Diaby's not done too badly, but like he's now rotation risk, isn't he? Another player dropping out. Rashford, similar situation. Grealish is not nailed anymore either. Do we throw Ødegaard in the mix? I guess we do. Fernandes, Gordon. I think Gordon's going to need a rotation at some point. Saka, McTominay. Gibbs White seems a little risky at the moment. Not really liking the look of Nottingham Forest in general. But just picking out some more of these players that look pretty good. Chan looking pretty good. Son. Bailey's an interesting shout right now, isn't he? I think he's kind of interesting. Let's throw in Douglas Luiz and McGinn, I guess. Do like Brennan Johnson. Martinelli, probably not. We'll maybe throw Garnacho in there a little bit. I would like to see Kulusevski where his numbers are. I can't see him on my screen, but I'd like to add Kulusevski in. And we'll start comparing some of these numbers and talking about some of these players once we've added them all to the list. Shout out, guys, if I'm missing any players, I haven't mentioned any, please do shout them out. Kulusevski, where are you? Oh, you're up here. You're up there. Kudus. Yes, we need Kudus. We need to talk about him as well. Is that everyone? Is that everyone? I think we're pretty much added all of the midfielders that are really worth talking about. Sterling, yeah, good shout actually. Sterling, yeah. Yeah. If we can find Sterling, we'll throw him on for the comparison. May as well. Why not? We've got McTominay. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's everyone. It's everyone worth talking about. Lo Celso. Okay, fine. We'll throw Lo Celso in as well. Although I'm not totally convinced by that one. Dwight McNeil. I don't know about that one. City midfielders. I've added Foden. I'm not going to add anyone else, to be honest. Bowen's in there. Right, okay. So, show only selected players. And here is a list. Here is a list of midfielders who I think are okay. Okay-ish. Some better than others. We need really to find a MBEUMO replacement. So I think probably Salah comes off the list. I don't think Salah quite counts as a replacement. Would you add in Son and Saka, or are they a little bit too expensive for what we're looking for? We'll leave them in for now. But I've ordered this list of all of these midfielders that I think are worth talking about. You guys are saying like some random players at this point. I mean, yeah, you get Decore, Enzo. I mean, at this point, we're just picking all midfielders, aren't we? Really. Bernardo Silva. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about Man City players because they're blank in a couple of weeks. But yeah, okay. I think we've got most. I mean, I think, to be fair, I think Havertz is not a bad shout. He's super risky, but at this point, I mean, just pick anyone. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? So let's throw Havertz in the mix as well. His numbers aren't actually that bad. And it leaves us with this. Which is interesting. So, I mentioned in my tier list video earlier today that my favourite MBEUMO replacement is Palmer. It's not going to be an option for me because I already have Palmer. I know a lot of you guys already have Palmer as well. But I think to me, it's pretty obvious. If you don't have Palmer, then he is your MBEUMO replacement straight away. You free up 1.7 million in the process. So that's obviously very nice. You can spend that on future transfers, whatever you want to do. And you get a penalty take for Chelsea. Should be pretty nailed on. And yeah, should tick along nicely, particularly for his price. He's one of those few players who's actually not been a disappointment recently. I don't think Palmer's ever really disappointed us. I mean, he's had one blank recently and one game he was unfortunately injured. Not really his fault. He's been pretty pretty nice. Now, one player who was really interesting, and I was looking at these numbers earlier, and of course I was trying to figure out, okay, which midfielder would I like to go? And I for myself was particularly looking at how can I actually free up a little bit of budget, because I would like to do the Isak to Watkins move at some point in the next, probably not this game week, but maybe next game week, maybe the week after. I would like to get Watkins back into my team. So therefore, I would like to free up a little bit of money with the MBEUMO move. I think that could work twofold. So I was looking at some of the cheaper options, and Tavernier really did flag up as someone who is putting up some really nice numbers. Now, unfortunately for him, a lot of his numbers were in that one game. Let's find him. Where are you? Let's go midfielders and find our good friend Tavernier. There you are, my friend. Yeah, a lot of his points were against Sheffield United, 1.22 XG in that game. But, in fairness, against Aston Villa, didn't get any returns, but generated 0.41 expected assists in that game. He did take a couple of shots in that game as well. The game against Newcastle, you can see he generated a little bit of XG there, a little bit of XA. He was rested against Crystal Palace, but is that going to be a regular thing? I don't know about that. It's a midweek game, so you can expect players to be occasionally rested and rotated with those midweek games. I mean, it happens to the best players. It's going to happen to all kinds of players, right? So I think his numbers, yes, he generated a decent amount of these numbers against Sheffield United and against Burnley. But the following fixtures, you've got Manchester United, who are conceding a lot of chances at the moment, followed by Luton and Forest, and then Fulham, which I think are actually pretty decent fixtures, I would say. And then Spurs, they are behaving very Spursy at the moment. And even after that, Liverpool, West Ham, Forest, Fulham. So it's actually a fairly decent run of fixtures if you're willing to go for a player like this. He's been in he's been in fairly decent form recently. And there's been lots of comments and talk around Bournemouth and how things are clicking a lot more. I think a lot of us guys have at least had a little look at Solanke. But maybe this is like a hidden gem kind of player that not a lot of people are going to be picking. He's 0.3% ownership, but he is flagging up. When we look at the the best underlying numbers among midfielders, particularly cheap midfielders right now, Tavernier has those numbers. And it's kind of up to you whether you say, okay, well, maybe that was a little bit because of the easier fixtures. That's definitely a valid point. But I think there's maybe something in that. After that, we've got Willian. Obviously, it's nice that he's on a lot of those set pieces, so that's going to be really helpful for him. I don't think Willian is 100% nailed. I think there will be a bit of rotation for him over a busy fixture period, partly due to his age, of course. He's getting on a bit, Eddie, bless him. He seems like he's been around forever. When was he playing? I feel like he was playing for Chelsea, 15 years ago. I know it wasn't that, but he's played for many teams. He played for Arsenal. When he played for Arsenal, that seems like that was about 5 years ago when he was playing there. I'm sure it was more recently than that, but it feels like it was a while ago, doesn't it? Well, maybe that's just testament to how far Arsenal have come and how much Arsenal have changed during that time. But aside from that, we've got Bowen. And obviously scoring a goal today definitely helped. And I think Bowen is if you've got that extra bit of money and you're willing to spend it on upgrading an MBEUMO, I think a Bowen would definitely be up there alongside Palmer as a real nice pick. If we look at the fixtures, the next two are okay. But they do get a bit iffy. So we've got Fulham and Wolves. I think these fixtures, like I say, are okay. I wouldn't overrate these. I don't think they're quite as easy. Wouldn't call them easy fixtures necessarily, but they're certainly not hard ones. After that, it gets a little bit all over the place. We've got Man United, Arsenal, Brighton, which are not ideal fixtures. A couple of decent fixtures after that, but yeah, it's kind of mixed. It's a mixed bag for West Ham. So there's definitely appeal there, and Bowen is a player you do fancy in any fixture. So yeah, I do like Bowen as well. I think Palmer and Bowen probably be my two favourite replacements right now for MBEUMO. Outside of that, the popular picks, we have to go down the list on the numbers a little bit. The popular picks will be Gordon and Hee-chan, and I definitely understand why. They have been scoring points recently. Gordon, I worry about his... I do worry about Gordon and how many games he's been playing recently. It's so much. Surely at some point, Gordon's going to have to be rested and someone else is going to have to come in. Yeah, even if it's Richie or someone on the wing, or maybe Joelinton moving over to the left wing or something like that. Something's got to give at a certain point for him. But Gordon's been in good form. Maybe not so much today. I mean, he did have a couple of chances still, Gordon, in the game against Everton. So I wouldn't say he's out of form now or anything like that due to the blank. I wouldn't worry about that too much. Hee-chan is a nice pick right now. We've got Nottingham Forest up next. Is that right? Nottingham Forest against Wolves? Yeah, home game as well. So there's definitely some appeal there. After that, West Ham, not so bad. Chelsea, Brentford aren't great. Everton are proving to not be great. But, in general, again, there's no, outside the Forest game, I don't think there's any easy fixtures in a while. And we say in a while... Hwang is one of those annoying players who's on 4 yellow cards, but also he's going to be going away for the Asia Cup, and that's going to be probably game week 21 at the latest, where we're going to see, or maybe 22 at the latest, maybe. Can't remember exactly what the dates are. I think it's 21, 22, probably 21. He's going to be missing maybe that period of games. So he's going to miss 4 games there. So you're going to have this run of 5 fixtures for Hwang, really, and then you're going to have to transfer him back out again. Is that a good enough run? I mean, I certainly like the Forest fixture, but after that, it's okay. It's not bad. Obviously, we're going to have Jota back soon. Is that going to make him better or worse? Maybe better. Maybe better. A few people asking about Son. Is he injured? I don't know. The game has only just finished. I've not even had a chance to check press conferences or anything like that. We all saw the same thing. We saw him limp off. I mean, I can't tell you more than that. I mean, we'll find out. I mean, will we even find out tomorrow? I'm not sure. It's an annoying one. But, you know, the thing is with Son, he always seems to make miraculous recovery. So he's kind of good like that in many ways, Son. So, yeah, credit to him in many ways. But hey, maybe that's going to be, if he is injured, maybe that's going to benefit our Newcastle defenders a little bit. I mean, Lascelles, what's going to be going on there? Don't know. Daniel Tyndall says, keeper idea stuck with Areola and Turner. Yeah, but on the keepers situation, because I can see a few people asking about goalkeepers. Yeah, I mean, there's a wrist injury for Areola. I don't know how long that's going to be for. We have limited information right now. But it seems like, you know, a switch from him to a nice cheap 4 million now, Dubravka might be the play. Don't think I'll go Kelleher anymore, because I think Kelleher only plays for 1 or 2 more game weeks and then he's going to be back out again. And you're going to be back in the same situation whereby you don't know what to do. But Turner is a pretty easy sell to Dubravka, isn't he? And then when Areola's back, then, you know, you're going to have 2 options there at least. But it's a frustrating one. Can definitely understand that. But Hwang, yeah, like there is definitely advantages of going for Hwang. I think he'll do well in Game Week 16, maybe 17 as well. After that, I do worry about him a little bit longer, because Chelsea, Brentford, Everton, they're not ideal fixtures. They're okay, but they're not great fixtures. And after that, he's off ski to the Asia Cup. So you're really looking at a 2-game week punt for Hwang, which could work. And I have been, you know, again, thinking about my team. And I'm going to share with you, actually, a strategy I'm thinking about using that does involve Hwang. And it involves using him for the next couple of game weeks, which I think could work out okay. And then he'd be back out again, potentially. But it's going to depend on so many things. I think so many things can go wrong in the near future. I think we need to be as flexible as possible. But Hwang, another option. He's on penalties, which is nice, but he is actually not putting up. His numbers are actually not as good as a lot of these other players. You know, we look at Palmer, Tavernier, Bowen, Gordon. These are kind of players we're talking about right now. Maybe Saka as well, if you can afford that upgrade. These players are putting up better numbers than He-Chan at the moment. So it's okay. So these are kind of the players you'd be looking for. I think there's outside potential for, you could say Kulusevski, but I'm actually going to say Brennan Johnson, because I think Brennan Johnson, he's a really interesting one, actually, because I'm going to have to go on the Spurs to find him, because it could be that he has a slightly more important role in kind of scoring goals. I mean, 0.38 XG today. That's not too bad, really. Obviously, he got an assist against City. He scored a couple of weeks ago against Wolves as well, which was pretty impressive stuff. He's finding himself getting more and more playtime. He looks good. He's occupying a lot more central areas as well, drifting inside. He's got a horror fixture this week against Newcastle, which isn't ideal. But after that, Forest, yeah, that's a good fixture. Everton is at home is an okay fixture. Brighton, Bournemouth, again, they're not such bad fixtures. I don't mind a lot of these fixtures. They're not amazing necessarily, but there's some decent ones in there, and there's not really too many really tough ones other than the Newcastle game. But then again, we just saw Newcastle get pumped 3-0, right? But the big thing is, when Son goes away to the Asia Cup, again, we're talking like game week 21, then we're going to see Brennan Johnson have a much more important role in scoring goals. So it's probably going to be a mix of him and Richarlison might have important roles. And I think that's going to help him, you know, nail him on for a little bit longer. He's nice and cheap. I think Brennan Johnson could be a really nice, interesting pick. I'm definitely really interested in. I'd like to see a little bit more from him. So, yeah, I would say that if you're looking for an MBEUMO replacement, Palmer is the really, really obvious choice. If you can afford to make an upgrade, I'd go for Bowen. Outside of that, the popular choices are going to be Gordon and He-Chan, but I would be cautious about both of those players for various reasons. I'm not saying they're bad picks. I'm just saying there is reason to be cautious about them for the reasons we mentioned. Outside of that, you're pretty much talking about going differential. And all of the other picks are going to be a little bit all over the place. Some of them will do well. Some of them will do poorly. Some of them will look like genius moves. Others will look like absolute disasters. And you'll be questioning, why on earth did I buy that player? You really will be questioning that. Yeah, who can blame you either? Right now, I can't tell you who are going to be the genius picks and who are going to be the amazing picks. Like, a lot of people will go try for Sterling, for example. He's actually putting up some of the worst numbers of all of these suggestions. Some people will maybe go for, you know, I know some people will go for Kudus as well. But again, his numbers are pretty poor. He's been overperforming a little bit recently. A little bit. But still a good player, man. Still a good player. But it's difficult. I think I'm happy to recommend Palmer and Bowen as your MBEUMO replacements. After that, it gets trickier. I probably would go for Gordon as my third choice. I probably would go for Gordon, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got some rest time very, very soon. He is going to cause you problems at some point. Chan, I think, is good for the next 2 game weeks, and then after that, again, another player that is probably going to cause you some issues, be that through tricky fixtures or shortly after that off to the Asia Cup, and you're going to have to use another transfer on him. He's not a Chan is not a long-term solution at all. We know this. Maybe that's a good thing. Some of you guys are going to be looking for a shorter-term solution, so maybe he fits the bill there. After that, I think at that point we start talking about Tavernier, who is a punt. He's definitely a punt, but his numbers have been good in the easier games. And I think Brennan Johnson is the other player I like as well. So there's various options for you guys to go for. Gonna have a quick look at the predicted points for midfielders. Again, we're on Fantasy Football Hub. And let's go, yeah, game week 16 to 19. I'm going to look for midfielders. Let's forget about the expensive guys for a second. We'll just go 8 million or below. And I'm sure most of you guys are not going to have more than 1 million in the bank. Some of you will. Saving that cash for a rainy day, why not? But in terms of predicted points, yeah, as expected, Bowen and Palmer right up here for predicted points. Well, Anthony Gordon there as well. This does assume that he plays minutes, though. And I think that is where things come into question. To be honest, after that Everton performance, do we worry a little bit more about the Chelsea midfielders? I mean, if you've already got Cole Palmer, would you be doubling up with Raheem Sterling? I think in a straight battle between Palmer and Sterling, you pick Palmer every single time. And only Sterling really comes into the question if you're doubling up. Would you be happy to do that? It's a good run of fixtures in general. You definitely get the good fixtures from it. But Sterling's numbers aren't great. If you can have the best fixtures in the world, if you're not a kind of player who's taking a lot of shots, getting in dangerous areas a lot, and creating a lot, then it doesn't matter how easy the fixture is. It's going to be your teammates who are going to be the ones contributing to those goals more so than yourself. And that is going to be Palmer. That's going to be Nicholas Jackson at the moment. Even Mudryk or Nkunku when he comes back in, probably going to be just as much involved, if not more, than Sterling. He's probably get you some points, but is he going to get as many as some other players? We've got Martinelli in here. I don't know if I really fancy that one. MBEUMO is going to be in here. Burnley up next is a good fixture, but then we've got Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Spurs. Crystal Palace is a decent fixture these days, to be fair. But again, Brighton rotation. Chan is up here, looking good for the next few game weeks. Garnacho is interesting to see him. After that, though, you're just picking players. Look through this list. You're basically picking players at random. I mean, Lucas Paqueta's here, Trossard's here, Joel Linton's here. Elise, Ryan Christie. It's really tough, man. Really, really tough. Really tough to pick out midfielders at the moment. And I think that's why the template is going to become so strong, even stronger than it was before, because we are limited for options. Like people in my situation, looking at my team. And by the way, guys, Nori again, another frustrating one. He would have been one of the few players to get me points this game week if he didn't get injured. But if he's back, maybe he's going to be okay. But in terms of midfielders and forward positions, we're all pretty similar. I think MBEUMO, to have to remove him, everyone's going to have Palmer, aren't they? I mean, there's not really an excuse to not have Palmer anymore. What about Kudus? Thoughts on Kudus? I mean, he's okay. He's fine. He's a decent-ish pick, I suppose, isn't he? Fulham away is not such a bad fixture. One to think about. So yeah, that's pretty much as far as I can go really with the midfield suggestions for you guys. That's probably where I'd stop that. Right, okay. So guys, next up, let's. I don't think we'll cover any other topics today because I do really need to crack on with the 100 experts video, which is going to go out tomorrow morning. So what we'll do is, if you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. We'll just answer as many questions as we can. We'll have a look at some price changes. And then, yeah, we'll call it a day. We won't do a super long stream today. So, yeah, whilst I'm waiting for you guys to put some questions in the chat, and we'll read some of them out, just a quick look at these price changes. It looks like Palmer's going up tonight, as is Gordon. So these two guys going up tonight. Palmer goes to 5.4. Gordon goes to 6.1. McTominay, Mikalenko, Trippier, despite all of that. Kudus, João Pedro, all going to go up. Jensen going to go down. The rest of the players are good until tomorrow. But there are several players who could go up tomorrow as well, including the likes of Dubravka up to 4.1. Alexander-Arnold to 8.1. Jesus Louise, that is going to be expensive. Yeah, Cash going down tomorrow as well by the looks of things as well. He's in free fall, isn't he? But I'll just leave that on screen, guys, so you can see. Again, this is on Fantasy Football Hub, their price predictions tool of how prices are going to change. Okay, so looking through the chat, some of these questions. Kaja says Saka or Gordon. I'll go for Saka. If you have the money, I'll go for Saka. Big Tip says Kudus is either brilliant or rubbish in his football style. He's a bit of a clutch, a bit of a moments player in many ways, I think. History and short, would you go for Johnson or Tavernier? I think I would personally go for Brennan Johnson out of the two. I think Tavernier is just a little bit too risky for me, where I think Johnson, playing for a big team who are going to score a lot of goals reliably and for quite some time, I quite like the look of that pick. Thoughts on MBEUMO to Willian? Nice differential. Yeah, again, it's okay. I think that's one of those picks where you're either going to look like an idiot or a genius, or maybe just okay. Willian's not going to play every game. He's going to get rotated regardless. He's an interesting differential, but I don't think he's a reliable pick. Liam says, MBEUMO to Palmer to make funds to move Darwin to Watkins in Game Week 18. Yeah, Liam smashed it. Yeah, perfect. That sounds like a really, really good move. Kaftan says, team in shambles, no keeper with MBEUMO and Diaby to sell. Yeah, I mean, it's going to, a 1 free transfer, it's going to be difficult. You probably keep Diaby because at least he's got a chance. You probably do MBEUMO out and then a goalkeeper and maybe do it for a hit. Cyclopath says, Pau Torres in for Anderson. No, I don't think so, my friend. I wouldn't say that a clean sheet against Arsenal is guaranteed next week at all. I really wouldn't. Going through here, Turner to Sanchez, says Abdul. If you want to, don't expect him to kick to get a penalty save every week, though. Let me tell you that, my friend. And Chelsea's defensive numbers are going downhill recently, but they have had some tough fixtures in their defence, and they have got some good fixtures coming up. So Turner to Sanchez is okay. I would personally opt for the cheaper option in Dubravka. I think Dubravka's got just as much chance of getting clean sheets and points on the board, but at a much cheaper price. Alfie says Decore is the most underrated player in fantasy. Yeah, I agree. No, I definitely agree. Decore has been really underrated. I have mentioned him a few times in the past, but yeah, certainly I haven't mentioned him enough. And I think it's probably my own personal biases thinking, Everton aren't really great at finishing chances, etc., etc. But yeah, opinions have got to change about Everton. I think at a certain point, they're looking better and better, stronger and stronger. And I think that points deduction is only motivating them more. And Decore looks good. He looks pretty decent. Would I necessarily pick him, given the fixtures? I don't think so. Thomas says, should I wildcard next week? Depends what your team looks like, man. Gary says, who do we get for Areola? Dubravka is the super obvious pick, but maybe Sanchez at Chelsea if you fancy going elsewhere. Amina says, the Chelsea defenders, Colwill is probably where you're going to be looking, to be honest. Some people will go for Reece James, but that sounds like a trap to me. Benji says, Pereira, he had a good game in a 5-0 win. Unexpected against Forest, but Pereira, I don't think he's shown enough consistency this year, has he really? Kipra says cash replacements. I mean, to be honest with you guys, we talk about defender replacements at the moment. I don't think I'd even bother. When we've got the goalkeeper situation, we've got the midfield situation with MBEUMO, we've got forward situations that we're all going to sort out reasonably soon. Particularly if you don't have Watkins, that's going to be a priority transfer pretty soon. Most defenders are not scoring FPL points right now. They're just not. So is it really worth getting them in? Is it really worth swapping one pointer for another 1 pointer? It seems like a pretty pointless transfer. I've pretty much given up on defenders at this point. I'm happy to play a Cash. I'm happy to play a Taylor at the moment because I think the alternatives are not enough better to justify a transfer. So in general, I would not be talking about defenders too much at all. Ross says Bailey or McTominay. I think McTominay is better for minutes. Again, not really shown enough consistency for me, but he has been occupying some good positions in some games. A lot of the other times he's looked like, just a defensive midfielder pretty much. Javid says, good time to free hit. No way. Definitely would not be free hitting right now. We're in too much of a dangerous time to be using those chips, and there's going to be such bigger and better opportunities in the future to do that. A sound off says Kulusevski or Johnson. I think I'll go for Johnson. He's got slightly better numbers and he's a lot cheaper as well. So I think that I think Kulusevski is a good pick and an interesting differential, but Johnson's putting up some better numbers, and I think it's occupying slightly nicer positions on the field at the moment. So I would be going for him. The Quantum Thief says ship cash just for squad value. I mean, how much squad value are you thinking you're going to get out of this? 0.1 million? You only makes 0.1 million difference to your team for every 0.2 he drops. So I wouldn't make it a massive priority for yourself, particularly if you've got other areas, problems in your team. Chat Sports says goalkeeper options. I won't keep talking about goalkeepers because I'm sure it's getting pretty boring, but the answer is the same as always. The two goalkeepers that I would be transferring in right now are Dubravka and Sanchez at Chelsea. Those two goalkeepers are the ones. Matthews says, Dan, I haven't used my wild card. Should I do it now, or when is the best time to use it? I would say the best time to use it is as late as possible. I would say probably. Obviously, you have to use it by game week 19 is the last week you can use it. So you are going to have to use it soon, but I think there's maybe an opportunity there. You could maybe transfer out Haaland in game week 18, for example. In fact, yeah, you could do something like that. You could maybe transfer Haaland out in game week 18 and then wildcard him back in. Or you could do it the other way. You could triple up on Man City for the next 2 game weeks and then wildcard them all back out again for game week 18. Not sure. It might be a little bit too late to do a proper strategy like that though. But there's a couple of options for you. That's probably what I would do. Save it and then use it to navigate that blank game week. Use that wildcard to navigate that blank game week if you still have that wildcard in hand. But yeah, remember, if you still got your wildcard, last opportunity to use it is game week 19. If you don't use it by game week 19, it disappears. It's gone forever. And we all get a new wildcard in game week 20 as well. History in short says, is Johnson guaranteed with minutes with Richarlison back? I don't think he's guaranteed minutes, but I think he's played well enough recently that there's no obvious need to drop him. Unless, to be fair, we have seen Spurs line up where Kulusevski actually plays behind the striker, where Lo Celso has been playing. So Kulusevski could go behind Son there, and then we could see Richarlison one wing, Johnson on the other wing, something like that. Didn't we see something like that recently? I'm sure we saw them line up with something like that recently. So just because Richarlison's back, one doesn't necessarily mean he's going to start games, but two doesn't necessarily mean they can't play together either. So yeah, it's fine. Liam says, what's the Haaland plan for the blank game week? Oh yeah, I did say I was going to share a plan with you. Yeah, okay, I do have a rough plan. I don't know if I'll actually go through this one. I mean, the backup plan is always to just simply bench Haaland. I think particularly now that we're removing MBEUMO as well, that's one less blank to worry about. I think you probably can just bench Haaland. Worst case scenario, just bench. If you've got one Man City player and no Brentford players for game week 18, just bench Haaland and be done with it. But rely on your bench. But there is another option which I kind of toyed with. I'll show you it really quickly now. So the idea was that I probably remove MBEUMO this game week and replace him with, like, I don't know, maybe Hwang. Let's just go for Hwang. I think Hwang works with this plan. So it'd be Hwang in this week, and then I have to click the make transfers. Okay, transfers made. So that improves my team somewhat. I don't really care about the bench situation. Whoever comes on for Art-Nori if he's unavailable, whatever. For game week 17, things will still be looking fine and dandy. Then for game week 18, we would have 2 transfers at this point, but we just remove Haaland and replace him with Watkins. So that would be pretty nice there. So we'd have something like that. So that would mean we have a full starting 11 of fairly decent players, I would say. We've got Taylor against Fulham there as an option there as well. We've got Cash against Sheffield United. If he's available to play, we can maybe put him in for Gabriel. If it looks like he's likely to play, we can maybe, potentially do Taylor instead of Nori there as well. There's definitely options there to do that. Possibilities. There are possibilities. I didn't save my transfer there, did I? So, yeah, transfer would be Watkins, right? And then make transfer. So, yeah, to do something like that. The captain would probably be Son with Watkins vice captain, I guess. Could be pretty decent, something like that. So yeah, a fairly decent team for Game Week 18, assuming everyone plays. And then Game Week 19, I'll have 2 transfers by this point. Isak goes out for Haaland. So basically, we're doing a bit of the switcheroo. Why won't it let me do that? It looks like they've updated, Fantasy Football Hub have updated their transfer out. There we go. It looks like they updated this. It's looking pretty cool. They changed the way it works. So we bring in Haaland back into the team, and that actually frees me up to bring Gordon back in. So if I'm worried about Hwang's going to be disappearing off at a certain point. Maybe he maybe stays in the team a little bit longer, but it allows me to put Gordon in, and then I'll have Gordon. And I'll do something like that, and that would be 2 transfers in Game Week 19. Make transfers. And it'll be something like that. That was just a very rough plan that I kind of came up with to do kind of a Haaland hokey pokey. So I keep Isak for Game Week 18. Why won't it let me make the transfers? I don't know. Too many changes, apparently. Oh, too many Newcastle players. Oh, we've got all kinds of things going on. Maybe a couple of bugs need fixing with the new My Team tool. So yeah, it would be something like that. And it would give me a full squad for Game Week 18. And it would give me the forwards that I want. I know I want Watkins for Game Week 18, regardless. So, I mean, I have an option. I swap Isak for Watkins, if I think Isak's not going to play, for example. Or I do it another way, and I transfer Watkins in for Haaland, and then transfer Haaland back in the following game week. Particularly as Haaland is kind of frozen at 14 million, there's not really too much worry about him potentially having a price change or anything, or losing value in him or whatever. He might even drop to 13.9. You might even be able to make 0.1 million if enough people sell Haaland ahead of the blank. You never know. So, yeah, as long as there's enough transfers to go around and I don't have other areas in my team that are problematic, I think there's argument to do a Haaland hokey pokey if you're planning on changing forwards anyway. Because although it looks like I'm making 2 transfers to bring Haaland in and out again, actually, effectively, I'm only making 1 transfer because I need to switch Isak out anyway for a Watkins. Does that kind of make sense to you guys? So you're doing the old switcheroo there, and actually, it looks like you're making 2 transfers to take Haaland out and in again, but effectively, it's 1 transfer, assuming you want to change your other striker anyway. If you're already on Watkins and Haaland, I think it's not as easy to do that kind of strategy. But I think it works in my scenario. If you've got Darwin as well, you don't want to play Darwin maybe against Arsenal, but you have an option. You either switch Darwin to Watkins, or you say, okay, we'll just play Darwin against Arsenal, and we'll transfer Haaland out for Watkins instead. So it's gonna be difficult, or it's gonna be different for different people. It's gonna depend on how many points you think your other forward is gonna get. But yeah, that's a rough idea. I think it's actually a pretty decent plan. But I mean, is it actually, when we actually get to this time, am I actually going to go through and actually do this or not? It remains to be seen. But yeah, it certainly helps me deal with some issues, and it might help you guys deal with some issues too. FPL Amateur says, I think a free hit is effective in 18. Not only do you get to ditch City and Brentford if you have any, but also Liverpool and Arsenal players playing each other. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I kind of mentioned that before. The only problem now is, now that we've lost MBEUMO, most people have sold Alvarez now as well. Most people are going to be going into Game Week 18 with just 1 Man City player anyway. So unless you're loading up on Man City over the next 2 game weeks, or maybe Brentford as well, I think the appeal is lessened, because the idea of the benefit of the game week 18 free hit strategy. I mean, this is definitely a talking point. I mentioned this on Twitter earlier, but let's go into a little bit of detail here. The benefit of the Game Week 18 free hit strategy was that you get to load up on City and Brentford players, enjoy their good fixtures around their blank, free hit them out during their blank in 18, and then you'll have them back again for the double. But now we've lost MBEUMO. Now it looks like there is potential for the double game week for Man City and Brentford to be slightly further in the future. I mean, before we kind of predicted it to be, what, game week 20, but it could now drift a little bit further. And therefore, is this free hit strategy is it going to be as kind of effective, as potent as we once thought it would be? I think it's lost its appeal a lot over the last week. I think it's lost its appeal a lot. So I'm not saying it's not a viable strategy. If you're already halfway there, you've already got a couple of Brentford and Man City players to try and commit to this strategy, then yeah, go ahead. But if you're like me and you've just got Haaland right now, and you're now selling MBEUMO as well, I think the free hit strategy in Game Week 18 is pretty much dead in the water. I don't think it's necessary anymore. I think there's going to be better opportunities to do this thing in future game weeks. Let's see. Let's do a few more questions. Lucas says 1,000 people, but only 130 likes. Come on, guys, do better. I mean, to be fair, Lucas, that's my fault. I haven't asked for likes so far in this video. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind liking, that would be massively appreciated. It really would. Let's do a few more questions, and then we'll start to wrap things up. Wait, what says, what is the best defender under 6 million? Pedro Porro is probably the player I go for. Pedro Porro. Do enjoy him. As a pick. Palmer and Trippier or Foden and Porro. I like... If you're wildcarding in game in 19... I don't know. I still think I like Palmer and Trippier better. I think I like those. Palmer, Gordon or Sterling. I like Palmer. Yeah, we've spoken enough about how I think Palmer's the best MBEUMO replacement for sure. Simon says Garnacho or McTominay. I would go for McTominay out of those two players, but I just don't expect too many points from them. That's all I'm going to say. B says, is Akanji a good option if you're free hitting? Yeah, I mean, if you could afford a Walker, I would perhaps go there. But yeah, Akanji probably plays one of the next 2 games before the free hit. But again, Akanji, is he even, when City do have their double, is he guaranteed to play both of them? Probably not. Is he guaranteed to play, next 2 games for City? Possibly not as well. Obviously, we're seeing Stones back in and around the team. Kabalash says, Dan, I missed the stream. What is the best replacement? Palmer is the best, then followed by Bowen. After that, probably put Gordon and Hwang about equal, and after that, go crazy, guys. Go absolutely wild. Inter says more injuries can smash our plans. They certainly can, and they probably will. Luis says, is Colwell a good pitch? Yes, he is. We've mentioned him as well. All right, okay, guys, I think we're kind of repeating ourselves a little bit now, so let's start to wrap up the stream. But before we do, oh my, that was louder. We've got another quick unboxing for you. Because I've had another parcel arrive in the mail today. And I'm kind of enjoying doing these unboxings a little bit, just for like a few minutes at the ends of streams. What do you guys reckon is going to be in this bad boy? What do you think it's going to be? Well, I'll give you a clue. There's a little bit of purple on there, and it's mostly dark blue. Well. What do we have here? Oh my god. Well, guys. We have it. It's finally arrived. Oh, beautiful stuff. It's the VAR Humbug. Let me show it to the screen a little bit closer. It's the new Christmas jumper. Checking Christmas spirit. Decision. VAR Humbug. Pretty much summarises how I'm feeling about FPL at the moment. This Christmas period of Premier League football and FPL, I'm certainly I'm certainly feeling a little bit VAR humbug. I'm not going to lie to you guys. And it is, in the UK at least, National Christmas Jumper Day as well. So, hey, we're snuggled up with our VAR humbug sweater. There you go, guys. Looking pretty decent. Of course, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This is a little plug. We're gonna do a little plug, because this jumper and many other beautiful things are on. Oh, why can't we see this? There we go. Hang on. There we go. Fixed it. This is, of course, on the Fan Prints website. It is our top seller. Obviously, Fan Prints a new kind of side project me and one of my friends have set up recently, where we're kind of selling football related merch, FPL related merch, and VAR Humbug is our top selling products at the moment. So thank you everyone who has bought one of these so far. I'm glad I can finally join the VAR Humbug crew. I really am. And I'll be wearing this Christmas. Make sure you do get your orders in soon, though, if you are planning on getting a VAR Humbug sweatshirt, because you want to get good use of it over the Christmas period. And it's probably going to take, depending on where you are, 3 to 5 working days to deliver. So, yeah, make sure you are ordering yours soon. It's $29.99 as a standard price, but you can use code FPL Mate, all one word, to get yourself 20% off. So it's going to cost you £25, which I think is really good value, and we've made sure this is good value for you guys. It's really good value, I think, for a jumper, for a sweatshirt. Because usually you'd expect to spend £30-35 on a sweater, I think. So 25, I think, is decent value for money. Of course, we've got loads of other stuff on there. We have actually also added this as a t-shirt and a hoodie now. So you can get this as a t-shirt or a hoodie if you prefer something slightly different than the sweatshirt. And there's plenty of other stuff as well. We've added mugs recently to you know, if you want a captaincy mug, or, you know, you're a football fanatic, fantasy football fanatic, halftime brew. There's some mugs that also, like, you can have like your previous rank. So, you know, mini league winner mugs and stuff like that. You know, there's like a top 10k, top 100k, top 1k mugs as well. Really nice. And all of our posters and stuff as well, which you guys will know about because we've spoken about the posters loads. Of course, you guys may know that I got one of the custom, because I really do love these products. I basically made these so I can buy a load of them for myself, because I really do love them. So I just did get the personalized frame as well. But yeah, you guys seem to be enjoying the products. So thank you everyone who's been supporting it so far. And if anyone else wants to make any purchases of the VAR Humbug hoodie or anything else, 20% off for FPL Mate viewers only. Code FPL Mate at checkout. There you go, all one word. So yes, guys, appreciate your support on that. Thank you for watching this stream. Hopefully next game week is gonna be a little bit better, though I have a feeling it's gonna be another tough one. 2 videos coming tomorrow for you guys. We're gonna do the 100 experts video first thing tomorrow morning, and then hopefully by the evening I'll be able to get that team selection video out as well, where I'll be kind of talking about my transfer plans. But aside from that, thank you so much for watching. I'm fed up with FPL, but we're going to go again. We will move. Check out another video if you want. We uploaded earlier the tier list video. And I will see you later, mates, for more content and more FPL. The fun never stops. It just keeps going. The season goes on forever. See you later, mates. Bye-bye.